But I think the role of the media is to carefully examine when are we self-censoring and when are we being censored by the government. And I would hope that the government would, when it censors, do it in such a way that it doesn't then foster much more self-censorship. So the reaction should be in measure to the story.
تفضلي دكتور إذا المايك عندك من فضلك لحظة رسالة.
Thank you. My name is Magda Abou-Fadl. I'm director of the Journalism Training Program at the American University of Beirut and a dyed-in-the-wool reporter of some 4 decades. I'd like to ask you how you can continue to straddle the middle when you have Rupert Murdoch at your heels in your own backyard covering local news for the Wall Street Journal, and if you can sustain that, particularly since he's not exactly someone who believes in moderation, if you will. And can you maintain the losses that you have had, what with the paring down of staff and losses of bureaus and that sort of thing?
Sure. The New York Times and the Wall Street Journal are in very direct competition now. The Wall Street Journal is changing under the ownership of News Corporation and Rupert Murdoch from a business publication to a general interest publication, which is the core strength of the New York Times. First, let me say we have not closed any bureaus. The New York Times International reporting force is as big as it's ever been. We have reduced some in our newsroom, but very little compared to other institutions and very little compared to other reductions. We have, to the maximum degree we could, preserved our news operation, and it is still 1,200 people strong. So it's a vibrant news organization. The Wall Street Journal is attacking the New York Times directly, and it is very personal on the part of Rupert Murdoch. But we know our audience very well, and our audience is very committed to our newspaper. We have over 70 reporters in New York City covering every aspect of the news, from cultural life, business life, local news. We're concerned about this competition, we're watchful, but we believe that we have the dominant role, and there are numbers to support that, and we're very happy with our competitive position and the loyalty of our audience.
تفضلي. لو سمحتوا بس عشان الوقت باقي عندنا 7 دقائق تقريبا. ما يشتغل.
Hello. My name is Reem Khalifa. I'm a journalist from Bahrain. My question is directly about the new media and how do you view it? What is your view regarding for free access to online news versus paying for accessing website? And I would like to know also how, your personal opinion towards what's happening around, with various experiences, if you're aware about adopting the new media in the Middle East with a number of GCC countries like Bahrain, UAE, and Kuwait. Thank you.
Okay. The New York Times newspaper is going to a paid model on the web at the beginning of next year. We believe that our news is sufficiently differentiated, that a big portion of the audience is sufficiently attracted to it, that they will pay for access to it on the web just as they pay for access to it on e-readers and on paper. We think having 2 revenue streams, a consumer revenue stream and an advertising revenue stream, is very important. The question is whether your content is sufficiently differentiated, that people value it enough to pay for it. We believe they do, and we have a business model we're developing to institute that. In terms of adoption of new media, the web in the UAE, I'm certainly not an expert on that, but I believe that all media are on a road going from our historical roots in print, on paper, to digital. And the question is where each geography is on that road. Some more advanced, like Japan, Korea, the United States, Europe. Some less advanced. But I think all are on that road, and all will eventually get there.
تفضل. الدكتور حسن بعدين. We'll take two questions together if you don't mind, and then we will, because we have only about 4 minutes remaining.
أنا إدمون صعب، رئيس تحرير سابق لجريدة النهار، وأعرف نيويورك تايمز جيداً، وهي المرة الثانية تواجه نيويورك تايمز مشكلة بنيوية بعدما اضطر أصحابها أن يبيعوها سنة 1896. واليوم هي أمام تحدي فهم ما جرى بالثورة التكنولوجية، لأن اليوم أحد كبار المستشارين في البيت الأبيض قال ذات ليلة إن صحف الصباح تحمل أخبار الليل، وهي الإثبات الخطي لصحة أو لما أذيع بالتلفزيونات ليلاً. أنا أريد أن أسأل القارئ الذي يبحث في نيويورك تايمز عن أخبار النهار بانتظار، هل عليه أن ينتظر اليوم التالي ليقرأ أخبار اليوم الذي ما قبله؟ إن اضطرار نيويورك تايمز لأن تستدين من الثري اللبناني الكبير كارلوس سليم أكثر من 250 مليون دولار كدعم لها مؤقت. هي أمام تحدي يواجهه كل الصحف الورقية في العالم، وربما المطلوب منها أن تفهم ما جرى في هذا العالم، وأن تقدم خدمات إخبارية وصحفية كاملة على مدار الساعة. يعني أن لا تنام نيويورك تايمز بعد أن تصدر في الصباح، ولا تترك قراءها يذهبون إلى الإنترنت وإلى الويب سايت وإلى التلفزيون بحثاً عن الأخبار والتعليقات والتفسيرات. شكراً.
شكراً لك دكتور حسن.